And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, Doe?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in. Center stage on the mic.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new style.
We're Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2 at 2 p.m. What do?
We get to find individuals that have supported our program for 6 years, exactly what they want, via podcast, television. Used to be 2 a.m. Now they get a chance to see the second most handsome duo in the industry at 2 in the afternoon.
Of course, we're behind Tony and Mike in terms of the handsomosity of the program. Jalen Rose, the Australian Open is over. Roger Federer won, which means we're back on TV every single day at 2 p.m. I couldn't be happier. I get to get out of the house early in the morning. I don't have to parent. I don't have to make anybody breakfast or put any clothes on or listen to complain about what shoes they need to wear. Don't got to put them out to school. And you, Mr. Rose, are now on TV every day. You know? Yeah, I see you on First Take on Tuesdays. I see you on Countdown over the weekend. But now Monday through Friday, here you are on Jalen and Jacoby. It's very exciting.
The most unique thing that I can humbly thank Connor Shell and John Skipper and Kevin Wilds,
shout out,
Dave Roberts and Norby Williamson. There's so many people that we can thank for these opportunities. I looked up and realized something. I'm the only talent at the network that's scheduled to work 7 days a week. And I absolutely love it.
Okay. Jalen, see here. All right. You're not going to get sympathy from me. That's all I have to say. I know your day. You're not going to get sympathy from me. You're not going to get sympathy from me. You get no sympathy from me.
I didn't ask for sympathy. I gave gratitude and appreciation for the fact that I do J&J Monday through Friday. Mm-hmm. I do Countdown on Saturday and Sunday.
It's great. It's exciting. I'm really excited about Countdown, too, because the slate of games that you guys have coming up on the weekends is fantastic. Yeah. It's just so good. This weekend's game, obviously, we're going to get into later between the Warriors and the Celtics. But there are some things that I wanted to talk to you about that aren't on the rundown for the TV show, because we always give exclusive content to our podcast listeners. Here's a question for you, Jalen Rose.
I got an important question for you and Reg after this one.
Okay, Darrell. Is this the least hyped Super Bowl for the last decade at least?
Yes, sir. And here's why.
No one's talking about it. No.
I'm going to tell you why. Because there isn't parity in the NFL.
Oh God, I cannot do this again. You're gonna take 5 years off my life again if you do this again. Jalen, no, I'm not going down this road with you. Stop. Just stop. We did this for like 15 minutes on Friday. I refuse to have a Groundhog Day conversation with you about parity in the NFL.
And since the one team, the New England Patriots, are in there for the 8th time in around 18 seasons, we've covered all of the storylines. There's nothing else to say. Ask the average fan who's a running back for the Patriots. They won't know.
No. Because there's like 17 of them, too. That's why it's hard.
Ask the average fan to name 2 defensive players on the Patriots. They won't know. But they know the greatest coach of all time is Bill Belichick and the greatest quarterback of all time is Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. And, by the way, where did he go to college?
Michigan. My wife saw his combine picture yesterday, that shirtless combine picture, and she was like, he doesn't even look like he's in shape. I was just like, yes. I was like, that you are looking at right now is the greatest quarterback of all time in the history of the NFL. And she's just like, what? He doesn't even look like he's in shape.
And the other reason is we've drawn parallels, in particular in football. Obviously, if there's a unique star player like a Lawrence Taylor, in today's game, an Odell Beckham, we try to create the storyline around the quarterbacks because that's the glamour position. If Carson Wentz was playing, then we'd be talking about, is he next?
Of course.
But since he's not playing and Nick Foles is, that kills 75% of the lazy media storylines that most shows run with.
One thing I like about the Eagles winning is Nick Foles bringing Philadelphia their first championship since the Vince Lombardi was on the sidelines. They didn't have the Vince Lombardi trophy last time they won it because Vince Lombardi they were coaching against. If Nick Foles brings them this Super Bowl and on the parade floats they're going through down Broad Street and everyone's showering Nick Foles with all this love, is Carson Wentz there like, do I have a problem here? Like, everyone's talking about me being the MVP, being one of the best players in the league, being next, as you said. Like, now he's got to be like, I wonder what that means. Does he become the backup again? Am I the backup? How's this work?
He definitely becomes the backup again. And usually the most popular person in town is the guy that plays that position. The problem is we clearly know that Carson Wentz is better and he's going to be the future of their franchise. But now they have confidence that they have a quarterback room with two capable individuals that can win games for them. And that's the goal.
Yep. The Celtics and Warriors played on Saturday, and the people got what they wanted in this riveting matchup. It was captivating. Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry absolutely took over and went head-to-head. Jalen Rose, you were there. An NBA countdown, all suited and booted, looking much better than you do right now. What did you think of this riveting performance from those 2 point guards?
Growing up being a fan of the game, loving the Harlem Globetrotters, always wondered what Curly Neal would look like if he played in the NBA.
Oh.
I had a snapshot of 2 individuals that remind me of modern-day versions of that. Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving. Taking what we see with the Globetrotters, what's been fostered through street basketball, actually taking place, the melting pot, the dance floor in the NBA. And the thing that I want fans to pay attention to is not just the numbers. Pay attention to the level of skill both of these guys are able to put on display. Not known for being mercurial athletes like a Russell Westbrook or a John Wall, but yet jump off both feet in order to finish. Able to shoot with both hands in the paint and around the rim. Able to be efficient from mid-range. Able to knock down shots effectively from three-point range, off the catch, off the bounce, off isolation situations, off pick and roll scenarios, in the clutch, big-time shots. It was a masterful job by both of those guys seizing the moment on a nationally televised stage.
And it was ultimately Steph Curry who finished out the game with a bunch of free throws and shots at the end to bring the Warriors the win. But it was actually before the game that Steve Kerr mentioned that when it could be a potential finals matchup, everybody plays a little bit more attention. Jalen, would you rather see the Warriors, if they come out of the West, play the Celtics, as we saw on Saturday, or the Cleveland Cavaliers led by LeBron James?
I know this is going to be a vogue conversation and people are going to be prisoners of the moment and say the Boston Celtics because they've competed really well against the Golden State Warriors the past few seasons. But I'd much rather see LeBron James. Here's why.
Why is
the
that?
Celtics don't have Gordon Hayward. And the thing about not having them, if you're going to take down LeBron, you have to have somebody competitive at his position, which is why the last few NBA finals you noticed, either LeBron James won Finals MVP or the person he was going against won Finals MVP. Yep. Kawhi Leonard, Andre Iguodala, and Kevin Durant. And in the East, while the Raptors seem to be a formidable foe, and clearly the Boston Celtics are the number 1 seed, graduating that to the NBA Finals doesn't necessarily translate for me that the Celtics have put up a better fight against the Warriors than the Cleveland Cavaliers would.
I agree. I would rather see the Cavs play the Warriors in the finals for LeBron James and those other reasons that you mentioned. Also, I just can't have too much Zaza Pachulia versus Aaron Baines in my life, especially in the finals. Like, the Zaza-Aaron Baines matchup is not something I'm looking forward to in the NBA Finals. We both know probably neither of those would be finishing games if that was the case. But I'm glad you did mention LeBron because just like the rest of us, LeBron James paid close attention to this Celtics-Warriors matchup. After the game, he tweeted, quote, Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry, just simply amazing, exclamation point. Sheesh, man. Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji. Jalen, you always talk about how LeBron James is overtly and subtly and publicly and privately sending little messages to his competitors. What is LeBron James doing here?
This future iconic basketball player that has now become a mogul while participating in basketball games, playing at an MVP level, has effectively and efficiently done a couple of things to the opponents.
What's that?
For the past 15 years. Either disarm or disable the opponents. And this is another one of those cases. If you think about what transpired since last year's NBA Finals, all the Golden State Warriors and Cleveland Cavaliers do is troll one another. What did Kyrie ask to do this past offseason?
Get traded. Trade me. Get me out of here.
From LeBron James. Do you think if Kyrie Irving had the number one pick or any pick for All-Star Weekend that he would have put LeBron on his team?
No. He may have.
I don't.
The man thinks the world is flat, so it's hard to predict exactly what he would do if he had that kind of, power and potential.
I don't think so. LeBron continues to disarm and disable the opponent, and this is a way that you're able to do it for public consumption via Twitter, so that the fans gravitate to it, so the media picks it up and puts it on SportsCenter. So now this offseason, those teams become play for maybe he goes to run with them if he leaves Cleveland. Mm-hmm. And what's going to happen if they face the Boston Celtics in the conference finals? Well, there's truly nothing there because LeBron publicly has let us know. What's going to happen if they make it to the Golden State Warriors? They would lose, and LeBron would be 3-6 in finals championship round matches.
In the last 72 hours, LeBron has tweeted complimentary things about both Kyrie Irving, Steph Curry, and Coach Popovich. All he has to do is talk about James Harden, and he's got basically everybody he could potentially face in the playoffs in his back pocket.
It's two more, and you're going to like this. I actually pay attention to the landscape. It's two more.
No, you don't.
Kevin Durant, he tweeted him, and he also tweeted free agent to be Paul George.
Good for
That's
him.
right.
Good for LeBron. Tuesday, when the CW's newest superhero suits up, lightning's gonna strike. Don't miss the hit new series Black Lightning. Black Lightning, a.k.a. Jefferson Pierce, had previously powered down his crime-fighting career for the last 9 years, and he'd been saving lives the best way he knew how, as the principal of a local high school. But in this city, when the hero's away, the gangs will play. And this dude's a family man, so when his daughters get caught in the crosshairs, it's time to take charge. Now the former hero is back in full force for a second round against corruption and violence, because lightning does strike twice. It's dark days for the city of Freeland, but the storm's coming when Black Lightning brings his power to the people. Critics are saying Black Lightning is, quote, positive, victorious, badass, like no other superhero we've ever seen, end quote. The New York Post says it's, quote, an entertaining, edgy piece of escapism, end quote. Tuesday, the world will know Black Lightning, an all-new episode after The Flash, only on the CW. Well, noticeably absent from that Celtics-Warriors matchup was a gentleman by the name of Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart was getting his hand stitched up because he got angry and punched a frame picture in his hotel room. Guess what? The root of all this may be a little socially awkward. You wonder, why was Marcus Smart so angry that he punched a framed picture in his hotel room, cut his hand so he could no longer perform his job? Well, there are some reports that perhaps this had something to do with a woman on Instagram posting pictures of him, engaging in some medicinal activities, also saying some scandalous things about him in some pictures. And Jalen, do you have any advice for Mr. Smart when it comes to social media behavior?
I do. This is something, however, that he probably could not control because it may have been recorded without his knowledge.
Possible.
But if it was recorded with his knowledge, I figured out probably why.
What happened?
Maybe he was high.
Is that a failed drug test?
Yep. And therefore, when you're inebriated, you don't make quality decisions, and you allow somebody to take out their cell phone, record you in a compromising position, and then now they try to blackmail you. When you don't fall for the number that they hope to achieve, then it becomes something for public consumption.
We do not know. We have not seen these posts because they have been deleted from Instagram. We've tried to find them and haven't seen them, so we cannot confirm or deny whether or not they actually exist. However, it has been reported. Also reported, this is pointed out by Steve Bulpett, I believe of the Boston Herald.
Shout out.
Marcus Smart doesn't always make the best decisions. Exactly a year to the day ago, when he punched the frame in his hotel room, he also had an argument with the coaches in the locker room in Washington and punched the wall. Jalen, as someone who has broken his pinky finger punching a wall before, I can tell you I will never, ever, ever do that again. How does Marcus Smart do this twice in a row?
He's a demonstrative, emotional player. He's physical. I got a chance to cover him with game day while he was in school. He had an unfortunate dust up with a fan at that time. Yep. He just allowing his rage and his anger and the score of the game to dictate how he functions in life. And this is a balance that sports tries to teach us, a life lesson as you gauge how to deal with success, how to deal with failure, how to leave the results on the floor and not allow them to put you in a position to harm someone else and or harm yourself. These are things I think he will learn from. He has gotten better out there on the floor. This might be the lesson that he now needed to behave a lot better moving forward when he has adversity.
Mike Golick here. You know, ADT, the #1 security company, can now help keep you safe at home and when you're on the go. Get started with the ADT Starter Kit professionally installed for only $49. Plus, you'll get ADT Go, the new family mobile safety app and service with 24/7 emergency response for free with any ADT security system. Go to ADT.com/podcast to learn more today.
Requires 36-month monitoring contract, QSP and EasyPay. Activation and early termination fees may apply. Certain markets excluded. Licenses available at ADT.com. Additional charge for ADT Go premium services after March 31st, 2018.
In the matchup between the Sixers and the Thunder, early in the game yesterday, Joel Embiid driving to the hole. This dunk all over Russell Westbrook, who was really just kind of trying to take a charge. And then, at the end of the game, with the Thunder comfortably with the lead, Russell Westbrook dribbles out the clock, staring at Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid awkwardly looks away. It was great theater. You thought it was over, but after the game, Joel Embiid posted this on Instagram, a picture of him with that dunk kind of on Russell Westbrook, and the caption, crime scene investigation, tough loss. Question is this here, Jalen. Is Joel Embiid antagonizing other players on social media going to end up hurting him long term?
I don't think it will, because he has a fun-loving personality, and I would not be surprised if the first person that he doesn't go up to and grapple and give a big bear hug to is Russell Westbrook once All-Star Weekend happens. Yep. That's likely the difference to me in the current athlete versus athletes even before my time. And I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. It just is what it is. In today's landscape, players are about what's current, and that's likes and follows. I came from an era where I didn't care about being liked, and I definitely didn't want to get followed. And so what ends up happening is the press and the fans, they separate the score of the game and what really is the goal of each team is trying to get accomplished. That's continue to get better. That's look at the scoreboard. Remember, that was the exclamation point back in the day. Somebody talk trash.
Scoreboard.
Worst case scenario, you can always point scoreboard.
Another thing for me is Joel Embiid. Yeah, you kind of dunked on Russ, but he was trying to take a charge and he flopped off to the side. It's not like Russell Westbrook was running down the lane, launched up in the air and tried to block his shot, and they went chest to chest. So, the whole stare down thing right there seemed a little egregious to me. And one thing I don't want to do is give Russell Westbrook more motivation to be more energized and more excited to beat my team, because if you give him that motivation, that's exactly what will happen, as you saw as the Thunder won their 8th straight game. Jalen, the Thunder are climbing up the Western Conference ranks. Are they for real?
The Thunder are the team now that we anticipated them being, led by one Russell Westbrook. Paul George has 7 30-point games. No other member of that team scored over 30 besides Russell last year, which is a remarkable change. which is why he was named to the All-Star game. Unfortunately, Boogie had to get injured in the process. I'm rooting for your healthy recovery, big fella. I know you're going to come back stronger than ever.
Jalen,
but with that being said, they're going to miss someone that's never discussed. Andre Robertson.
They are.
And
a lot
here's
of times
why.
when he gets brought up, it's people make fun of his shooting or whatever, but they are going to miss him.
He's a liability shooting the basketball from the 3-line and from the 3-point line, from the free throw line and the 3-point line, yes. But on defense, he allows them to play an ultimate small ball lineup, which allows Paul George to lock down one player, him to lock down another player. They still play small ball with Steven Adams, who's having a terrific season, points and rebounds and field goal percentage. Taking him out of the mix is going to really hamper what they're trying to get accomplished ultimately long term. But now they're looking like, on paper, now it's matching up on the floor like they are a consistent team that could possibly make it to the conference finals based on the matchups. But I still think the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets have declared to be the class of the Western Conference.
Certainly looks that way. One team that's got some bad news in the Western Conference. You mentioned it earlier. A gentleman by the name of DeMarcus Cousins, also known as
Boogie,
suffered this terrible injury. It was a torn Achilles. He's going to have season-ending surgery. And just to make it even worse, he could potentially be up for max contracts from the Pelicans, 5 years, $175 million. Do you think this injury is going to affect his future in New Orleans?
I don't think it's going to affect the fact that they will still give him a maximum contract. Here's why. If you look at the landscape of the NBA and the history of the Pelicans, they're not a storied franchise.
Nope.
They're not one of those teams that all-star level free agents have signed with consistently.
Nope.
They don't have multiple championships hanging in the rafters. For them to have on their roster the only two players in the history of the NBA as teammates to both average over 25 and 10 the same season, plus starting in this year's All-Star game, that level of cachet you have to pay for. And therefore, while he rehabs, they're going to be there by his side and or vice versa to hope that he's nursing himself back to being healthy. But ultimately, I think they offer him the deal. And if he likes it, which I think and anticipate that he will, that he ends up playing with Anthony Davis for a really long time because they've now shown that they can be dominant together.
As always, if you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail. Ladies!
Ladies! Can I go derail for 30 seconds?
All right, 30 seconds starts now.
I'm a little disappointed, Reg. I've been using my do-rag and I realized something. It's starting to mark up my forehead. These are the reasons why I didn't want to do this.
But Jalen, you're tying it too tight. You're tying it too tight. And I love that you played basketball in your do-rag on Friday, too. Jalen played basketball in his do-rag, sweating under the do-rag, and in sweaty clothes that he didn't clean, just left in his locker from the last time that we played. And it was like a week.
So this is a great question that we could pose to the people on social media. By the way, follow your boy Jacoby Juice on IG. Follow me, Jalen versus everybody as well. Here's a question that I would like to ask the public. Am I trifling for hooping in the exact same clothes a week later that I left in my locker?
See, I'll say this. As someone who sweats very heavily, like Patrick Ewing sees me sweating, it's like, dude, you sweat a lot. You know, like I sweat like Patrick Ewing in a sauna on the equator, right? But you don't sweat like I sweat. So you can play ball and then just put them in the locker, maybe hang them on the little hook in the locker and let them give them a little bit of space, and it's not as flagrant. If I leave clothes that I've sweated in a locker, those clothes break out of the locker. They grow life. They walk out of themselves and then go clean themselves because they can't stand it anymore.
And also, here's a unique thing that I realized since you challenged me, and that's what's great about having friends around you to try to make you better, to work out and to play basketball and things like that, is that I can physically play basketball and barely sweat.
I know.
At this point. Once I really get into it and start actually running and trying to compete in every play.
You don't do that in the games that we play, though.
No doubt about it. So of a possible 100% tile of sweat, I probably only sweat 5 or 10%. And that doesn't take away from the question, however. But here's also what I want to add to that, and I'll let you get back to the program. I was actually going to go to my cubicle and get some gear to rock, but David Jacoby suggested it wasn't important, so I did.
We gotta get there early. I'm rarely envious of the clothes that you wear, but I really like that shirt.
Thank you.
Don't forget, if you call 985-80-JALEN, you can leave us a voicemail and we'll play them on the show just like this.
Yo, Jalen and Jacoby, what up? It's John from Colorado. Shout out to Reg and the staff, everyone, Harlan. I'm listening to the show at work, medicinal, and you guys are talking about parity. It's clear that Jalen's right on this one. The NBA, the fact that Cleveland and Golden State, two notoriously bum franchises, can now come up and have a rivalry of the ages of the NBA. First time ever, four championship series decided by them. That's going to be insane. I can't wait. And then in the NFL, my Jaguars got robbed by the refs in the AFC Championship game, so the Patriots can go back. They talk about parity, yet they don't let new teams go. They wanted the Patriots to go. Maybe that's conspiracy. Anyways, thanks for taking my call. Hope to hear it on.
All right, let me take this, Jalen. So here's the thing. Let's take everybody behind the scenes. Let's take everybody behind the curtain of this program. Here's what happens. Me and Jalen just makes me so angry on Friday by talking about there's no parity in the NFL, which is one of the most insane things I've ever heard. Doesn't even understand what parity means. Makes me upset. I'm like legit angry, not legit angry, but annoyed on the podcast for 10 minutes. Jalen tries to bring it up again on this podcast earlier, and then Reggie, hearing this twice, says, you know which voicemail I'm going to play? I'm going to play the one that brings up the parity conversation back up again. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stir this back up to the top. That's what I'm going to do when I'm Reggie. Great producing, Reggie. Now I'm mad again.
Shout out.
Play another voicemail. Don't even speak, Jalen.
Ain't no what up and ain't no doubt. This is the mad caller. You want to know why I'm mad? I don't even care if y'all play this on the show. Because that's how mad I am. Let me tell you how mad I am. Y'all just listen to Max call from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. You know what I mean? He left like a 2-minute voicemail. Soon as he gets off the call, y'all give him an associate producer. Right? I done left 2 voicemails. And my topics were on the show twice. And we talked about it. And I called back. And you trying to tell me that I can't get no associate producers? Not nothing? And then, on top of that, Reg, I'm going at your neck too. Because I done called back like 63 times, and I can't get on this show not one time? You mean to tell me you just get right past my voicemail? That's how you do? You don't give the people what they want? All right. I just listen to y'all tomorrow. See if I made it on. I'll let you boy yourself. I'm out.
The mad caller. Okay. So here's what I'm starting to think Reggie does when he goes through the voicemails. Because we get a lot of voicemails. I think Reggie probably listens to about 6 or 7% of them. And once he gets to like 5 that are acceptable, he's done. Everybody gets lazy. You know what I mean? Everybody gets lazy. You know, and it's like, so now Reggie's like, oh yeah, that one about parody, I'm going to make Jacoby bad with that. Oh, and then this guy who's mad at us for complaining about calling other callers associate producers, I'm going to play that one next just to make him mad at that. Reg, what's happening here? Jalen, can you explain what's happening?
Here's what's happening. The first caller that talked about no parity in the NFL was exactly right.
Wrong. That's just not true, but I'm not going to argue with you about it again.
We all know the Patriots going to win their division and be favored to win the Super Bowl next year. Yep. We know this. Number one. Number two, I like what the second caller did, but instead of calling 63 times, should have called 81 times. That would have got you right on.
Don't motivate him. Don't motivate him. Shout out to the mad caller. Reminds me of the mad rapper. I know you're old enough to remember the mad rapper. Late 90s, Hot 97.
And this is where I was going.
Mad rapper was kind of dope.
He was dope, but here's where I was going with that. You know, we take pride in being original on this program. And if he participates on the program again, Reg, he does deserve associate credit dues, but here's what I'm going to encourage him not to do. Style stealing. Mr. Me Too.
Oh, no, I'm just going to encourage him just to kind of, get a better connection. I could barely hear what he was saying. He was so mad. He was making that call from a submarine or something.
But we appreciate the support. Thank you for the call.
And ladies, don't forget, if you call 985-80-JALEN, we do a celebration of females around the world and in our lives every single Wednesday, and we're going to need your voicemails and tweets. Ladies, send them in to us. We'll put them on the television show on Wednesday. Not just the podcast, the television show on Wednesday.
And also, I want to tease something because we need you guys' help, and maybe you could tweet us and or leave voicemails about this. We're going to drop the term crush from our Wednesday vernacular.
Yeah.
We feel as a team that it has a sexual overtone of attraction.
Yeah.
And therefore, if we're going to truly pay homage, we should not be fostering that term. And so I would love our associate producers and all of the people that follow this fine program to leave voicemails and or send tweets to other terms we can use to promote our show on Wednesday where we pay homage to the women.
Right now, it's Women's Wednesday. If you can do better than Women's Wednesday, tweet at us, leave us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from women on that one as well. Right now, we're going to hear another voicemail. Don't forget, if you call 985-80-JALEN, we'll listen to the voicemails right here on the show.
Hey, Jalen, Jacoby, shout out Reg, it's Levi out of St. Louis. Calling about the old trade deadline and the Pacers. I keep on seeing social media and Bleacher Report bumping the gums about Kemba Walker and how the Pacers need to go after him. Call me crazy, but I think the Pacers need to just sit back, listen to anybody who makes an offer, but they need to at the draft pick swap and trade TJ Leaf for Miles Bridges, whoever drafts him, because the Pacers aren't going to be that low in the draft, or that high, I should say. So if you guys have any other opinions on what you think, let me know, but I honestly think that's what they should do. Thanks. Bye.
So I am here to find homes for certain players.
Oh, you are? Oh, you're like a real estate agent.
Absolutely. I'm not encouraging teams to part with these fine individuals that are really talented at basketball.
But if they did.
If the Cavs are going to part ways with Kevin Love, I don't see a problem with them sending them to Portland for C.J. McCollum.
Oh, that's interesting.
Both of those guys get a chance to play in their home states. And that reminds me of the answer to this question. Same thing for Kemba Walker. Send him to the Knicks.
To the Knicks?
That's the better landing spot for me in Kemba Walker.
Huh.
Stay tuned.
Interesting. I believe he's from New Jersey or the Bronx. He used to call him Easy Pass, which I always thought was a good nickname. Easy Pass is like kind of that thing you put in your car so you can just cruise through tolls. You don't have to stop and pay. And he would just Easy Pass his way through the lane.
That reminds me of KRS because he's actually, as KRS One would say, he represents the Bronx, but he is a New Yorker, all vegetarian, never eat pork or chicken in the battle because my brain starts clicking, just like the years of a watch top ticking. Woo. Bars!
I want to have KRS-One on the show.
Shout out.
I really do.
Legend.
I really do. Jalen Rose, not everything in the world of sports and pop culture is worth talking about. We separate them all in a segment that we call Keep It Moving. Jalen, you're familiar with Elon Musk. He's got so much money that he got bored and he started wanting to send people into space and all of this. Well, guess what? He's got a new project. He's now selling the world's safest flamethrower. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Flamethrower, hit the brakes.
Elon Musk created this flamethrower with a company somehow called the Boring Company, and he says that it will help you in the zombie apocalypse. But why in the world is he making flamethrowers in the first place? What would anyone ever want a flamethrower for? I don't understand this. Please explain.
Especially for zombies walking the face of the earth. This is when you have so much money and you can dedicate so much of your time and resources to something that isn't as meaningful as it could or should be. How about he take and direct that level of focus and energy toward curing cancer?
Anything else. I never saw a flamethrower and said, you know what I need to do? We need to upgrade this. We need more flames, more fire. Next, Isaiah Thomas didn't play in the fourth quarter against the Pistons.
Keep it moving. We know how this ends up. If they can trade him, they will.
Jalen, I'm going to start this by saying don't get fired. There are some robotic, exotic dancers making their debut in New York City. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
I hate to say it, hit the brakes. I need to hear about this.
You're going to hit the brakes on this one. Jalen, we're going to get canceled for sure. Okay. There's a strip club named Sapphire 39 in New York City, and they're actually going to have robotic, electronic, non-human adult entertainers grace the stage. What do you make of this?
What I make of this is I'm so glad that you're happily married doing this show currently from Los Angeles, because if this was Jacoby maybe X amount of years ago, I'll probably have to find a new partner to do this show.
Shout to Sophia. Moving on.
Shout out.
The NBA is going to raise the winner's bonus in the All-Star game to motivate the players. Instead of $50,000, those multi-million-dollar players can make $100,000. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know, we keep it moving.
$100K? They pay that in technical fouls.
Jalen, are you familiar with IKEA?
Yes, I am.
Well, unfortunately, the founder of IKEA, who brought us all of those Allen wrench put-together furniture, has passed away. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Jalen, I have put together so many pieces of IKEA furniture that I'm surprised that my hands aren't constantly bleeding and I'm still here. Have you ever put together a piece of IKEA furniture?
Absolutely.
No, you haven't. That's a lie. You're lying right now. Don't lie to the people. I know you've never done this.
This is so cultural that I just don't understand. And I'm going to date myself with this one.
Don't date yourself.
Growing up, David Jacoby, we had a component set. They played records, had speakers.
Okay.
We also had a floor model television.
Okay.
You know what happens when those things stop working?
You go to IKEA?
They become furniture, and you put other items on top of them.
Okay.
So I've done that for years. No question about it.
Okay.
That's contractual and design work.
So you've never owned a piece of IKEA furniture, have you?
I have.
Okay.
I've shopped at IKEA multiple times.
Really? Great parking lot.
Yes, indeed.
Great parking lot. The Pistons have made Avery Bradley available for trades. Jalen, keep moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Your Detroit Pistons just acquired Avery Bradley, and now they're shopping him. That's never a good sign for a franchise, but you always ride for the Pistons. How are you going to spin this positive?
Here's what I'm going to say. Hey, multimedia, let me teach you guys something. Unless you're one of the 5 to 8 franchise-changing players in the NBA, or you're one of the 3 to 5 players that probably have no trade clauses in their contracts, it is not breaking news when a player is available. It's so head-scratching to me when I hear that. Well, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I played forever and I got traded 15,000 times. It's just the nature of the sport.
Hey, this is Sam in Los Angeles. What up, though, Jalen? Of course, with you, Obi-Wan Jacoby. Shout out to the whole crew. Shout out to the staff. Obligatory shout out to Reg. All right, my question is this. In about a month or so, we'll be having NBA All-Star Weekend in Los Angeles. Big, huge marquee event in the big city here. No, not the big city, but, I guess the second biggest city. Anyway, what are the chances that Adam Silver was imagining his star-studded event in Los Angeles with not a single member of the Lakers or Clippers on either roster? Is there any chance that he kind of gives a little nudge to the coaches and says, hey, put DJ on there. Put Lou Williams on there. Put Kuzma on there? I don't know. They got to have somebody from LA, don't they? Let me know what you think. Yep, medicinal.
Great sign-off from Sam. Medicinal. He's in Cali. I would say Lou Williams could still make it if something happens like what happened to Boogie. I'd say he was next in line to make the team, wouldn't you?
Yep. I'd say Chris Paul is next in line.
Ooh, that's an interesting angle. I could make an argument for each case.
However, shout to Lou Williams for the way he's balling this year.
Shout out.
I love to see players that have never made an all-star game that have been a reserve for the last 7 years now get an opportunity in a contract year to not only get the points. He's had a game where he got 10 steals. He's had double-figure assist games. And while he may not get an all-star nod, he's the NBA player that I'm enthusiastic about this summer that's going to get a large contract.
Yep.
I hope for his deal they put the Harriet Tubman 20s in circulation.
They need to, whatever happened to that pro project? I feel like it had a lot of momentum, like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, where there's this, people making up prototypes online, and all of a sudden, no one's really talking about them anymore. There's no one but us. Only on Jalen and Jacoby will you get a continued update of the status of the Harriet Tubman 20s. Here's the update. No update. Nothing's happening.
And I know for the NBA, the goal usually is to have a hometown player participate in the game, but now you can circumvent that because you have so many different events. You have the skills challenge. You have the dunk contest.
Rising stars. Kuzma's even the rising stars. Yeah.
So you have ways to reward the home teams, especially in a town like L.A. and or New York where two teams play in that same city.
I'm going to make a bold prediction here that I don't 100% believe in. Kyle Kuzma's the Rookie of the Year. I'm just going to throw it out there. Like, I'd say Ben Simmons is a better basketball player, right? And I would rather have Ben Simmons on my team. I think Donovan Mitchell's exciting and Dennis Smith Jr. and others I'm forgetting. But Kuzma gets buckets, and he is comfortable, and he's on a team that he can average a high number of points. So at the end of the year, when people vote on this, they just look at stats. I think Kuzma's stats are going to be pretty impressive.
Fellow Michigander, Flint Town representative. Shout out. I understand where you're coming from with that. He deserves to be in the conversation, but Ben Simmons is the Rookie of the Year. The way he's filling up the stat sheet is like no other. I appreciate what he and Andre Drummond did right after they felt they were snubbed for the All-Star game, the kind of numbers they put up. This is what I appreciate about athletics. And we didn't talk about it on this program, but the other thing I appreciate about team sports is how they become your brothers, your teammates, and they keep you in check about certain things. And I appreciate when he had his outfit on that was clearly done for him by a stylist, his teammates clowned him. Loved it.
Kuz, and also he was filming. They're playing Lonzo Ball's music on the team plane, which I think is one of the best ways to clown somebody is to play their music and just stare at them like, this is you, this is your artistic expression right here, Lonzo. Like, this is really what you're doing with your life. This is what you're doing with your spare time instead of working on that broken jump shot. Okay, thank you, Lonzo.
He got a show in Lithuania this summer. Keep getting them checks.
So they put some of that Lithuania ball stuff into the rundown. I was just like, no, we can't do this. We can't do this on television. We cannot perpetuate this LeVar Ball Lithuania stuff. And listen, I love that they're doing this. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just a pure hater of the Ball family. I think that it has been impressive that in these fake exhibition games they are putting up those kind of numbers. But like, it is a mockery. Like, these aren't real professional games. These are exhibition games against teams with lower amounts of competition, in which they let the dad of two players in the team coach the team, in which he plays his sons the entire time. But you know what? Keep getting them checks, Ball family. Yep. Keep getting them checks. We're going to keep getting them checks. We'll be back tomorrow. Our schedule is consistent now. Back. We're not done.
We're not done.
We'll be back every single day this week, every single day next week, until the executives see what we said about Marcus Smart and the robot strippers. If they missed it, we'll be back tomorrow.